Three, three, oh, three, three, oh, three, three, oh, three, three, oh, three, three,
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Akron's hottest and fastest growing show, 3 to go. I'm your host, Hank Forrester, coming to you live once again from Quarantine Stakeout Studios. And we got a red dot, and here we go. I am live right now with Steve, and Steve is the president and CEO of the Akron Greater Akron Chamber of Commerce. And I am so glad to be joined by you. You've got some really good breaking news for the city of Akron, and we need good news right now. So thank you so much. So Steve, the first question I always ask all of our guests is, what is your Akron story? Tell us about Steve. What's your 330 story?
Well, my Akron story is still developing, Hank. I've been here for a couple of years in this role. I've been in the region for a while, up sort of in the Manaway area. And I came down here based on what I saw happening in terms of growth and change in Greater Akron, the opportunity to sort of really pop. So a lot of great people that I've known for a lot of years down here encouraged me to think about what's going on. And I was inspired by Mayor Horrigan and County Executive Shapiro and a lot of other great leaders down here that are really doing some neat things. It's such a connected community. It's absent of a lot of the politics of some other communities that I have some experience in. And people here are serious about working together, getting some ththings done. So it's been great.
Okay. So welcome to Akron. We appreciate you being here. And I've been very open with my story. I'm a Akronite through and through, about to turn 46 here. And I've lived here my whole life. I want to show off my shirt. I got a new shirt from Acme. This is my new $5 Acme shirt. Like a good neighbor, stay over there. And now everybody's gonna be singing that in their head. So all right. So I am literally in the crosshairs of the businesses that fall in the cracks when it comes to this exact scenario. So I've been very open with my public and personal life. We own a DJ business, so we're part of the wedding industry. So I didn't apply for unemployment at the time that all this started, because at the time we didn't know what was going to happen as far as money. And we waited, and what we're running into right now is, especially anybody that's in the event industry, this thing is only happening 2 to 4 weeks at a time. So they're waiting 2 weeks before, and then they extend that stay-at-home order another month, right? So we don't know what to do as a small business. And on top of that, most of the stuff that has happened to date favors like a brick and mortar kind of situation. And especially if which is fine, and I'm not complaining, but it has a tendency to favor someone that has employees. It is a medium-sized business. So where I'm seeing the most, I don't want to say complaints, but where I'm seeing the most people that need help are those single shop owners, the people that have like a little candle shop or a little flower shop, and it's just them, and they're their only employee, and maybe it's family owned. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this new thing that has happened for Akron. And if you could explain it to us, how it's rolling out, and how who can benefit, and how they can apply for that.
So when this started, part of what was happening was the SBA had just come out with their PPP and their EIDL loans. And a lot of our focus was, how do we bridge the gap? Because we knew that money was going to take a while. And because the first round of this was public money from Summit County, we wanted to make sure it was focused on employers that we were trying to help get to the other side. So a little bit more focused on companies with employees than companies that are one employee or smaller firms there. And also companies that were sort of, had a presence in the county. So as we looked at that, we got overwhelming demand. And as you think about the numbers, there's like 38,000 or so businesses in Summit County that, are like entities, if you will, like you're, with one employee or no employees. And then once you get to employers, it gets to be a lot fewer, maybe 10, 11,000. So in that 3 to 25, there was a certain focus. As we learned about the demand, though, and we saw what was happening with the PPP, the EIDL, the federal support, and the fact that it wasn't getting to the very small businesses. It wasn't getting to minority businesses. We've kind of shifted this a little bit and opened up the program now to more businesses. So with an additional $5 million of funding from the CARES Act through Summit County, County Executive Eileen Shapiro, County Council, Brian Nelson, the Chief of Staff, looked and said, let's move some more of these dollars into our small businesses. So we have a fresh round of funding, $5 million, starting today at noontime, Thursday. We are going to be able to make that available. And there's a separate pool for what we're calling one-person companies. So companies that don't have a traditional set of employees, it's the owner operating and driving the business, 1099 kind of activities, et cetera. And that program will allow not only eligible business expenses to be paid from the $2,000 maximum grant that's available to those folks, but also up to a sixth of what your owner income would have been based on last year's numbers. So we're trying to find a way to get that $2,000 to these folks. It's not a ton of money, but again, we think it's a bridge. The other good news, I think, Hank, as you may know, is as of yesterday, the pandemic unemployment insurance option opened up. So if you are a sole proprietor or 1099 to a contractor, you are now eligible for the unemployment insurance benefits through the state and also through the federal government. So the max is out at about $1,000 a week. That should also be able to help those folks that don't have lots of employees.
That's fantastic. And I mean, here's the thing. And I'm assuming a lot of businesses feel the same way that I do. And that is we don't want more than what we need. And it's just having a little bit of help. Like, for example, the biggest thing we're running into in the event industry is we're having to move these weddings. And so we're basically splitting our income between 2020 and 2021, because you not only are you moving that wedding and losing the revenue this year, you're then taking a prime date from next year as well. And you're trying to be fair to the brides. And this isn't just brides and weddings. This is all, the entire event industry. You're trying to be legit to them, and you don't want to penalize them by charging them a fee or something. But at the same time, it's the reality of the situation. So, something like this would be great in terms of just having a little bit of extra help. Like, for example, I've got refunds. I had a couple move, and they went to a date that I'm not available, and I have to refund them their deposit. And now so I'm not only not making money, I'm now returning money.
Well, in your business, once the data is gone, it's gone. Your inventory, if you will, is also all of a sudden obsolete. So, and I think the events businesses, I think this as well. Through the end of the year, it's going to be dicey, because even if you can have the event, will people have the event? So many people have been affected here, as you said. And for a lot of these businesses, it is their sole source of income is their small business. And they don't qualify for some of the other programs. So we hope this can help a little bit.
Yeah, and I'll bring up the Rialto Theater. We're partners with them, and we're going to be doing a summer concert series with them, where we're going to be broadcasting bands performing virtually for them. But they're a perfect example, right? So they're a bar industry, and I did see yesterday we reported that when DeWine said it, or actually Houston said it, that they're going to be offering some sort of a rebate program for bars to purchase their liquor and to help them get restocked and get restarted. But this was a primary thing that we brought up when I was helping the Your Pizza Shop Akron group with the Akron Meals for Kids program.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple people that were there that were volunteers that were in the restaurant industry, and they were chefs and servers at restaurants. And one of the things that they brought up is restocking those facilities. So in other words, when everything happened, they had to get rid of their inventory. They had to sell it off or give it to family or friends. And now they have to do a re-up and buy everything back again to reopen as far as food goes. So that I could see something like that being applicable for what you guys are offering as well.
Yeah, and I think that, again, these expenses, we know that for a lot of companies, they need to get one shot at reopening, right? Because the expenses to do that are not insignificant. And so if these dollars can help with that, that's another way that they can be used, whether it's for making some modifications to their facility, if they're a small restaurant, or, to put some plexiglass in or something like that, or to get PPE that they need, or to just pay wages to keep employees around long enough to sort of help you restart. So there's lots of ways these funds can be used. Any deductible business expenses eligible, and some portion of owner income as well.
Yeah, it's a good point. Charles LaBelle, we shared his video. He's one of our original sponsors, and they're a barbershop, right? And they basically, he point blank said, we have to get the shop ready because the chairs are not 6 feet apart, so they have to put in dividers.
Right.
And he said that the plexiglass has gone up 75% in cost in the last month and a half.
And even masks are up to, like, I think they were, with all the changes in certifications, they were at $3. They're now $6. So, you know, I don't know that people are necessarily taking advantage, but demand has gone through the roof for these things. And so the pricing is reflecting that.
All right. So you said it goes live at noon today.
Yep.
So where do we go? What is the process? Talk us through the process for a business. How do we apply for this thing?
Pretty straightforward. We have a website up. It's the website we've been using to keep people up to date on all the COVID-19 activity. It's at gaccovid19.org. And on that website, there is a tab for grant program. If you click there, all the eligibility requirements are there. There's frequently asked questions there. There's also the buttons to go ahead and apply. There's 2 different applications. If you've got just the owner or one employee, if you will, that owner is an employee for these purposes. There's one application. If you've got 2 to 30 employees, there's another application. When you get to the application page, it'll give you a list of the things that you're going to need to apply. We're asking you to sort of take the time to gather what you need there. It's not a lot of information, but there are things that might not be right at your fingertips, like what were your total expenses and revenue for 19? What are your expenses and revenue year to date? What impact did you have from COVID? So there's a short list of things that we need you to put in there. Once you sort of proceed forward and get into the application, you can't save it until you're done. So that's why we're asking you to gather that stuff. Give us the information, check it over, hit submit, and then we'll review your application for eligibility. Now, this is for for-profit businesses. We had some folks in the first round mistake not making money with being a nonprofit, and so that's not the case, right? Sometimes you might feel like you're a nonprofit, but if you're organized to be a for-profit business, if you've got employees up to 30, including the owner, if you are 50% of your employees or more reside in Summit County, those are some key eligibility criteria. Folks can get up to $5,000 if they have 2 to 30 employees, and up to $2,000 if they're a sole employee venture. Once we get that information, we'll evaluate it. It's all done objectively. We score it based on some criteria in terms of the location of the business and the number of employees and the amount of revenue and the length in business. You have to have been in business since December 15th of 2018 as well. And the reason for that is these monies are coming from a federal source. So we need a federal tax return of some sort to sort of submit there. If you've got your 2019 return or your 2018 return, those will suffice. And we don't need those right away. We'll ask for those if you're at the point where you get funded. But it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. The application should take 20 to 30 minutes tops for somebody to go through and do online. And hopefully we can give you some good news in a few weeks here.
Well, Steve, that's fantastic. On behalf of Akron, I'll just say thank you straight away for everybody.
You're welcome.
And it's you said 2018, and it's interesting because I do know, one of the things we do here is we cover new stuff, right? And I literally can tell you 5 or 6 little businesses or restaurants that were brand new that opened up this year. And it's they opened up in like January, February, and it's like, yay, 2020. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
so much.
We feel for those businesses. And obviously I've heard from a lot of them and they're like, well, why aren't we eligible? And part of it is because, again, these resources are being driven from public sources. Right. The idea is we want businesses that we think can stick. And we just don't know if someone's been around for a short period of time, if they're going to stick or not. So that's
totally agree. I get it, man. Yeah. I get it. It sucks. Yeah. All right. But so final words. What else would you like to say before we close down?
There's help and support available for business owners beyond the grant program. Use the GAC COVID-19 site for a whole bunch of assistance and information about all aspects of this. We're working with about 15 other partners across the economic development ecosystem to share that site, to keep it updated, to make sure the information is getting out there. And again, you thanked us for our work. We're administering this. The real thanks here, and I think it's important to underline, government is sometimes something that businesses look at with a little bit of a shaded eye. But in this case, Summit County Executive Eileen Shapiro, the county council, they really are focusing on how do we help our small businesses. They get it. They get what you're going through, and they're doing everything they can to help. And so they're the resource, the financial resource for this, as well as some other foundations and donors that helped out as well. But they've really led the parade here, and we appreciate that very much.
Steve, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Once again, folks, we're going to share this video. We'll pop it up on YouTube and share it on Facebook. And on top of that, we will put all the links in all the descriptions. So we'll put all the links to be able to find this information. So if you have a small business out there, Greater Akron Chamber's been very busy, and they're working hard to try and help you guys out. All right, so that's all I got. We're going to play some outro music right now. Steve, you're new to the show, and we always say, take care, folks. Have a good night, everybody. And everybody out there, say good night, Shirley.
This podcast is a copyright of Moon Garden Media Limited.